The following program is brought to you by Naleo TV, the people's platform.
Welcome back to another episode of Mind, Body Kona. I'm your host, Sarah Bergeron, coming to you again from beautiful Inner Alignment Studios in Kailua Kona. Today we have a special guest joining us, Kelsey Aldridge. Excited to have her coming through our flow with us today. Today we're going to be slowing it down a little bit, working on some breath work, and also just getting into the restorative side of yoga. So let's go ahead and get into it. So go ahead and just clear a nice space at your home or wherever you're going to be practicing with us today, coming down to a seated position. If you have a pillow or maybe you do have a yoga bolster at home, go ahead and add that under your sit bone. What this is going to do is just going to allow our spine to sit a little bit taller, opening up the chest area here, allowing just more oxygen to be flowing in and out. So we're going to go ahead, starting out with some Ujjayi breath. So in yoga, our Ujjayi breath is going to be coming in through the nose. We're drawing that breath all the way down to our diaphragm area here, down to the belly button. And then we're exhaling it through the nose as we restrict the back of our throat. So as Kelsey starts to take some big breaths here, coming in through her nose, you'll start to notice on the exhale, maybe you hear like an ocean-like sound coming in and out. So as we take these big breaths, maybe we close down our eyes, really just start to settle into the space here, letting these breaths, maybe hands on the body or on the thighs, hearing this big inhale. Really restricting that back of the throat. Feeling that shift in our parasympathetic nervous system here. Just taking a few more rounds. We're going to start to introduce a count to this breath, coming into some 4, 7, 8 breathing. So continuing with that in and out of the nose and our Ujjayi breath, we're going to take that big inhale, inhaling for 4, 3, 2, 1, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale through the nose, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Big inhale through the nose, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Slow exhale through the nose. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll take 2 more rounds of this. Big inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale, slowly letting that air out, one sip at a time. Using those abs, really squeezing out every last drop of air here. And then starting to continue back to that normal breathing in and out of the nose, big inhales and exhales. Beautiful, really feeling that nice calm state that comes along with this breath. slowly starting to bring a little bit of movement into those fingers. And then starting to open those eyes if we do have them closed. Let's go ahead and just reach the arms up over the head. Taking a big exhale, right hand's gonna plant on the floor here next to us, bending into that elbow as we reach up and over, creating a nice big side body stretch. On that next breath, inhaling, coming nice and slow back through the center, inhaling nice and tall. Exhale, bringing that hand to come down. Big reach towards that opposite side. Slowly on that next breath, inhaling, coming back through center. Let's go ahead, coming down, bringing hands and knees, coming into a tabletop here. So rolling onto tabletop, removing our prop out of the way. Let's go ahead and make sure those knees are right under the hips, wrists are right under the shoulders here. Spreading fingertips nice and wide, creating that nice base. Let's go ahead and engage the core here. Take a big inhale through the nose, drop the belly, big arch through the back, gazing up towards the sky. Beautiful. Really allowing that tailbone to take that big arch here. Let's go ahead and exhale, pressing into the mat, creating this nice round spine here. So see her pressing away to create this spine round. Big inhale, go ahead, drop the belly here. Big breath, gazing up towards the sky, exaggerating that arch, maybe even looking into the back of the head here, looking as far as we can back. Exhale, press that away. Let's go ahead, starting to come back into a downward dog. So coming into neutral, let's curl our back toes under, shifting the hips to come all the way back. So sometimes in down dog, we end up here. So really making sure we're belting that heart to come back, creating this line from her tailbone to the crown of her head. Shoulders pressing in towards the mat, forehead melting down towards the floor. Heels pressing back here. So maybe in our practice today, our heels aren't quite on the floor. That's totally okay. Maybe we have a slight bend in the knees to bring that connection down to the floor. But just pedaling through this shape, starting to explore in the body here. So maybe lifting one heel and then the other. Maybe shaking our head, yes and no. And just shifting the weight around in the body here in this downward facing dog. Seeing all the different openings that this shape can provide for us. We'll be here for about 2 more breaths, just really allowing the body to open up before we come into some restorative postures. So as you can see, maybe you're lifting onto the tippy toes, coming up and down with the heels. There's many different ways that we can explore into this shape. Maybe even lifting heels. Let's drop both heels to one side, Kels. Beautiful. So what this is going to do, it's going to open up from the inside line here of our armpit, bringing this opening here. Let's go ahead and inhale those heels to come back up, dropping them down to that other side. Beautiful. Really creating that opening line on that other side. One more big breath. Inhaling heels to come back up through center. Let's exhale, coming down to the center here. Let's slowly walk our way to the top of the mat, one step at a time, maybe bringing both the feet to plant on the mat here, hip width distance. So go ahead, bend into your knees so much so that your chest is resting on the thighs. Maybe if we're a beginner in our practice, we're going to be a little bit higher up here. So it's okay to take that even deeper bend in the knees if it's necessary. Grabbing those opposite elbows here and then shooting the tailbone to come back up towards the sky to create this straight line as much as we can from the crown of the head all the way back to the tailbone. So what we're doing here is we're actually expanding into our spine. So every time we take these movements, maybe right to left, maybe shaking the head out here, we're really opening all the way from the back of the hamstring, creating more space in the back of our lower back here. So taking a few moments here, really letting gravity pull us into this shape, and maybe even exhaling the arms to come back down towards the mat. Let's go ahead, maybe even using the feet as leverage. Let's take peace fingers around the big toes. And then as we exhale, pulling, bending into those elbows, making that 90-degree shape here, really pulls her spine even deeper towards the floor. So pausing here, maybe taking a couple inhales and exhales. As you inhale, maybe you rise, beautiful. As you exhale, use that breath, leaving the body here to create more space to bring that head even closer to the floor. Take one more of those, big, beautiful breath. And that flat back coming in between, that's really gonna help with that expansion as well. Slowly start to release those hands. Coming into a flat back here, let's slide those hands up the shins, creating that nice straight arm here, flat back. So if we could rest our coffee cup on here. Breathe into the back of the rib cage here, and then take that one more forward fold. Big exhale, coming even deeper. Beautiful. Getting so close to that full expression here. And then slowly, let's start to stack the vertebrae, coming all the way up to standing, one vertebrae at a time, really making the head nice and heavy here, coming up last, and then rolling those shoulder blades down and back, palms facing the front of the room, feeling really grounded here. So maybe we feel like we have roots growing out of our feet. Maybe we even grip the mat with all 10 of our toes, energy shooting out of the fingertips here. Big inhales and exhales through the nose, resetting the body here, breathing in all of that beautiful work that we just did. On our next breath, we're going to inhale the arms to come up over the head. We're going to interlace our fingers, allowing the pointer fingers to come out. Stepping the feet to touch here. Let's go ahead, maybe we even bend the elbows to get a little taller, straightening those arms, even maybe behind the ears. Feeling that lift in the chest, even engaging the thighs off the kneecaps, fully lifting that full body here. On that inhale, we get a little taller. Beautiful. On that exhale, we come over to the side, bumping that hip over, slight gaze underneath that armpit up towards the ceiling, as if we're in between two panes of glass here. So we're not dumping into the hip, we're not dumping forward. And every time we inhale, maybe we get a little taller. And every time we exhale, we come a little bit deeper into that hip. Beautiful. Let's take one more round of that breath. Big inhale, big exhale. Really feeling this pulling all the way on this side of the body. On our next breath, we're going to inhale all the way back to center. We'll get a little bit taller with that breath and exhaling over to that other side, gaze shifting. Once again, we're really using our breath here as a tool. So every time we take that inhale, we truly get a little taller. Every time we take that exhale, deflating into that side body just a little bit deeper. Taking that last breath here. Beautiful. On that next inhale, rising back through center. Let's go ahead and just shake the head, yes and no. Bring the feet to come back to hip width distance, slight bend in the knees, slowly coming into forward fold. We're releasing our low back here, so just moving nice and slow. Maybe we sway side to side here, releasing this area. If we built up any tension, holding those arms up overhead. And then slowly, we're gonna go ahead, bringing the palms to the mat. Let's go ahead and just walk the feet back towards downward facing dog. So just walking those feet back, pedal it out slightly. Just take a moment here to kind of reset your spine. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and take a lion's breath here. So big inhale through the nose, big open mouth exhale. Sticking out that tongue. Beautiful. Let's take one more of those. Big inhale, big exhale. Letting it all go. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and start to drop down into child's pose. Let's bring the knees to come as wide as the mat. Hips are coming all the way back here. So in our child's pose, what we're also doing is creating that tall spine once again. So as the big toes come to touch in the back here, we're really pulling the hips back as we crawl the fingertips as far away from us as we can. Sometimes if you have someone to assist you, getting this adjustment really helps solidify The spine coming all the way back to the hips. Really breathing into the back of the rib cage here, filling air in between those vertebrae, even bringing that expansion in deeper. Also, maybe massaging your forehead in this posture, rocking head back and forth can feel really nice, tapping into that intuition and third eye space. Also, this is a posture of protection. This is something that can bring a lot of calm and clarity into the body and mind. To reset the nervous system. This posture is always here for you. So this could be a great place to start your restorative practice at home, is in a child's pose. There's also a couple variations to this posture that can feel maybe more supportive. This one I would say is more of an active version of this shape. Let's go ahead and come into a more restorative version of this child's pose by bringing the knees to come all the way together, giving your body that extra support here, and then bringing the forehead to come down, allowing the arms to come behind us. Beautiful. So this shape truly represents protection here. So we're protecting all of our vital organs. We are giving ourselves that rest. We're calming down our nervous system. We're massaging third eye, tapping into intuition. So this is a beautiful place also to start if the knees being out and the spine stretching feels just a little bit too much for you. You can be in either of these postures for long extended periods of time if it feels good in your body. If you also wanted to add some props into these postures, you can also add bolsters. I know a lot of people have knee issues, so having the knees bent for long periods can sometimes not feel very supportive. So sometimes adding a bolster behind the knees can feel really good. So bringing that bolster to kind of hug in between those kneecaps. That's another great place. You can also use a thin pillow or anything at home that you have. This is really going to feel supportive and also allow you to stay in the posture even longer. If you did want to add multiple other pillows, you could have this one behind the knees, but then you can also bring it under the chest. For this one, you could have even taller pillows that are stacked higher if you needed to. Depending on what your body needs, you can adjust that with the props. That's what's so beautiful about props. A lot of the times people look at props as a crutch or, oh, I'm not good at yoga, so I need to use these things. And that's actually not the case at all. Props help us go deeper. They help us expand on our practice. So don't be afraid to ever grab your props when you go into your local yoga studio on a regular basis and just see how much it expands into your practice. So for our next posture, we're gonna come into a chest opening supported fish pose. Again, there's a couple of variations that we can do with this. We're going to go ahead and start with some blocks first. So if you have yoga blocks at home, that's a great place to start. If you just have a pillow, we'll show you that variation as well. The first variation we're showing you with the blocks is going to actually be a bit of a deeper variation. So if you have issues with your thoracic spine, if you suffer from, hunched back, if you're constantly driving on the computer, rounding your spine, this is something you should practice on a regular basis at home. So basically, you'll set your blocks up like so, one long, one tall. We'll have Kelsey come over here. And basically what she's gonna be doing is when she comes back, she's going to be aligning the block with the bottom of basically where your bra strap would be or the bottom of your rib cage to come back on the block. And then your head will rest under the other block, allowing this opening in the chest here. So as we do this all day, sometimes our fascia will build up. Fascia can build up very quickly, more quickly than we realize, eventually turning into something that almost feels as hard as stone. really restricting movement and feeling like we've really lost that mobility. So this can be something that's super, super powerful to just add into your evenings. Even just doing this for 4 or 5 minutes a day, you'll notice a very big difference in your range of motion. So if this feels a little too intense for you, you're like, oh my goodness, I cannot get into this posture, another great place to start. Let's go ahead and just sit up really quick. You could, so there's two variations. You could add the bolster on top, which just gives you a little bit of a less intense opening. Or if you wanted to take the blocks away altogether, and you can just do this with a pillow. So go ahead, Kels, bring your tailbone to come right up to the back of that pillow, and then coming back onto it this way. So if, like I said, if you do have some taller pillows to stack, it's going to give you that even bigger opening in the chest here. So either way, so this will be the more restorative version of the posture. And then this will be a little bit more of an active, but also restorative posture. So this again can be super, super powerful. We're basically working on our thoracic spine here. And we're also working on opening the chest and shoulder blades. So these are really great tools to use at home. Another posture that we are going to show you today, I've been getting a lot of clients lately talking about having low back pain. Low back pain is a very common thing as we start to age that we can start to combat earlier and earlier, and the more we know about yoga. So let's go ahead, we're gonna come into a pigeon pose. So again, we can use props for these. Props are very supportive, especially for beginners who feel like these are things that are not accessible to them. So say we wanted to use a prop here in this posture. So say our hips are very tight. We have this, pretend like you have really, really tight hips, like you cannot get down, you're all the way up here. So this can be the case for some people. So in order to combat that, we can take a block, taking it under that glute, giving you that support so you can rest here. Also, another great way to give some support is maybe stacking a little platform to the front of your mat for you to be able to bring those forearms down to rest. So maybe this is what our pigeon looks like today. Things that we want to avoid is, say that we didn't have this block under the glute and those hips dumping off to the side here. So that's not going to be good for our spine and keeping the hips square. So just making sure the hips stay nice and square in this pigeon is going to be super important to helping working through those hips. So we store a lot of good stuff in our hips. We talk about this regularly on our show, whether it be trauma, grief, sadness, a lot of things in our body that we go through that are traumatic, we actually store them in our hips. So postures like this are extremely powerful, not only to work the low back, but also to process trauma that is stored in the body. So this is helping our low back here. The foot, we basically have it flexed at the top of the mat, semi-parallel with the opposite leg behind us here. So what that's doing is we're creating more space, pulling all the way from this low back area here, coming all the way through that front leg. So you'll notice when we start to come out of this pigeon, go ahead and press back for your three-legged dog and start to pedal it out, pals. Coming back to the downward dog after this, I feel like is very important because we drop those heels and we create and solidify that pull that comes from this area of the low back. So we're really fighting against that sciatica here. So just dropping one heel and then the other, just pedaling through to really pull that hamstring and that low back open here. Let's go ahead and just come onto the other side just so we stay nice and even. Again, not everyone will need the props right away, or sometimes you will. It's totally fine either way, but just listen to your body. If you feel like you've worked past needing the block under the glute, it is beneficial for you to eventually remove that crutch to be able to help drop a little bit deeper into the posture. Eventually, the glutes will be down and the body will be completely on the floor. So if we wanted to show just some more advanced variations of this posture, there is a couple of other variations. So we could be coming all the way down onto the floor with the full front of our body. So forehead to rest. So someday we could get here. Maybe we want to thread the needle by bringing one arm underneath the other, creating a slight twist to the neck. This is also another variation that might be accessible someday or maybe even today. And slowly start to come up, Kel. So let's go ahead and start to come into like a mermaid variation, bending back knee. So you can also bend into the back leg, reaching for that back ankle. And maybe someday getting the foot in that forearm and connecting the hands on top. So there is many different ways to go about this posture, starting all the way from the very beginning, coming all the way through something like this. Beautiful. Let's go ahead, pedal it out. Just reset your spine, whatever that need is here. Just take a couple of breaths. Let's go ahead all together. Take a big inhale through the nose. Big side out. Beautiful. Let's take one more of those. Next time, hold it slightly. Big exhale. Beautiful. Let's go ahead, dropping down onto the knees. Let's come into a forward fold. Let's bring the legs to come in front of us. So a couple different variations here. Something that I was playing with yesterday that felt really nice was, let's go ahead and add this under your glutes. So sometimes adding a nice little lift under the glutes in your forward fold, it's basically going to give you a little bit of a ramp to lift the body, connecting that chest and thighs to come all the way forward, really creating that tall, long spine. Instead of a lot of the times we come into a forward fold and we do this. So we're rounding the spine, we're pausing here, when really the magic in this posture happens when the belly and the upper thighs connect. So that's going to create the compression, it's going to create more circulation in the front side of the body, even accessing our digestive system, bringing more blood flow. So there's a lot of different benefits to this. So go ahead, Kelsey, really lift that spine, coming all the way forward. If you have someone to walk their hands up your spine too while you come into this, that can feel really nice, just to not really push you, but just give you that little extra bit of leverage. Beautiful. And using the breath, see how on her exhale she comes deeper. So the breath here in our entire practice of yoga, in any movement practice, is a tool. Every time we take that big inhale and exhale out tension, we exhale space into the body, and we allow ourselves to go that much deeper. So really play with your breath next time you're moving your body and see what it has to offer for you. We're going to slowly start to rise, coming up here, taking a moment, big inhales and exhales, beautiful. We're going to slowly start to come down onto our back and just take a moment of stillness, ending our practice. So it's very important at the end of our practice to take a moment. This is actually most of the reason we move our body in yoga, is to get here. The practice of yoga is actually bringing ourselves into that stillness and being able to meditate for long periods of time to reach that liberation. So the movement is just preparation for that. Bringing our mind chatter down, getting those wiggles out, getting that energy out of the body, whether that be through breath. So getting here today is where we want to be. I thank you so much for joining us today on Mind, Body, Kona. My name is Sarah. Mahalo.